Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Praise be to our gratitude for the only and one God, because it is His grace we can complete our text. In this occasion, we in Group 2 will explanation about word, base, stem, and root. Previously, introduce me. My name is Swaode Isdeno Ayuswada with student ID number A1M220126. I am as a moderator. And my friends,
Madewi Ramdita with ID student number A1M220008.
My name is Risnianti. My ID student number A1M220020.
Okay, introduce. My name is Siti Nursali with student ID number A1M220068.
My name is Yulanti Artini. My ID student number A1M220032. Well, I return it to the moderator.
My name is Ayu Asriana with student ID number A1M22038.
okay, thank you. The first material we will explanation is about word. Made Wiranti Medita, welcome.
A. Words. One definitions of words. Words are speech sounds or series of speech sounds that symbolize and communicate meaning, usually without being divided or separated into smaller units, and can stand alone or can be used independently. Well, that's the material for me. I return it to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Made Wiranti Medita. The next material is will be explanation by Risnianti. Risnianti, welcome to you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity given to me. Here I will explain the material about word classes. Alright, in English grammar, the word class is divided into 8 groups. They are noun, verb, adjective, adverb, interjection, preposition, conjunction, and pronoun. Okay, number 1, noun. What is the noun? Noun is a person, a place, a thing, a quality, or an action. Okay, this noun is a class of words intended to denote something, such as a living being, object, or place. Example, book, chair, pen, table, and edge. Number 2, verb. What is the verb? Verbs are actions that describe what nouns are doing. Verb is a word that serves to indicate the action of the subject, indicating events or circumstances. The example, go, speak, write, take, eat, and edge. Number 3, an adjective. What is adjective? An adjective describes a noun. The example adjective, all, happy, sad, small, big, and edge. Number 4, adverb. What is adverb? An adverb describes the verb, adjective, or the adverb itself. The character is that is often and weakly. Okay, example, adverb also, just, more, out, new, very. Number 5, interjection. Interjection is an expression of protest or sudden speech, usually start with a sentence. Example, the interjection, hey, wow. Example, a sentence, oops, I made mistake, and wow, that's amazing. Number 6, preposition. A preposition describes the relationship between a noun and another noun, or verb or adverb. The example, preposition, except, towards, about, before, after, beside, and edge. Number 7, conjunction. A conjunction joins together word, phrases, or clauses. Example conjunction, or, yet, so, because, and edge. Number 8, pronoun. A pronoun function to replace the possession of the noun or noun phrase, which can be understood from the context that is understood from context. Okay, example, pronoun I, you, she, he, we, they, it, and H. Okay, I restore the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Risnianti. The next material is about best, and will explanation is by myself. Okay, best is the smallest, indivisible, and independent morpheme unit. All root and stem are best, but and all best be root and stem. Best is a part of word that attention and affix change that meaning or part and speech in the word, but inflectional and derivational affixes can be attached to the best. According to Katambas, a best is any unit whatsoever to which affixes of any kind can be added. According to Stigebers, best as the morpheme in a word that has the principal meaning. There are two types of best. There are free best and bound best. Free best is that a best that can stand free or alone when separated with the affix. For example, in the word of recharge, if we remove the prefix re from the word charge, re as a prefix and char as a best. More example, in the word of teacher, if we remove the suffix er from the word of teach are a best and er are a suffix. Two is bond best, that a best that can stand free as word. Doesn't has meaning with hot affix. A bond best has to have a prefix or suffix added to it make it into a word. For example, in the word of reduce, if we remove the prefix re from the word of just, re are of as prefix and just are a bond best. So, based on definition, types, and example of best, we can conclude that first, any root or any stem can be turned a best. Not all bass are root. For example, word speakers, the root from that word is speak. But the bass from the word are speak and speakers. Stems are just phrases when you are talking about influential change. Okay, that's my explanation. The next material will be explanation by Siti Nursali. Siti Nursali, welcome to you.
Okay, the material about road. So, road is used to denote a form that cannot be further analyzed very well, meaning that road is the form that remains after all its affix. Okay, inflectional and derivational affix are emitted according to the Oxford Dictionary. Notice the part of word that has the main meaning. So the conclusion of all of all of all expert opinion that road is the core of word which can be analyzed into smaller segmentation. Example, for unhappy, the word unhappy, the process of forming the word unhappy is a word happy which goes the prefix and suffix un and which becomes for it is the word happy. Okay, that's the material from me about road. Then I wrote it into the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Siti Nursali. The next material will be explanation by Yulianti Hartini. Yulianti Hartini, welcome to you. Okay, record. Okay, thank you for the. Okay, thank you, Siti Nursali. The next material will be explanation by Yulianti Hartini. Yulianti Hartini, welcome to you.
In linguistics, a stem is a part of a word responsible for its lexical meaning. The term is used with slightly different meanings and would depend on the morphology of the language in question. In English grammar, the morphology, a stem is the form of a word before any inflectional affix are added. In English, most stems also qualify as words. The term is commonly used by linguists to refer to any stem or root to which an affix is attached. I return into the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Yulianti Hartini. The next material will be explanation by Risnianti. Risnianti, welcome.
Okay, number one, identifying a stem. A stem may consist of single roots, of two roots forming a compound stem, or of a root or stem and one or more derivational affixes forming a derived stem. Number two, combining stems. The three main morphological processes are compounding, affixation, and conversion. Compounding involves adding two stems together. As in the above window cell, or blackbeard, daydream, and so on. For the most part, affixes attached to free stems. Stems that can stand alone as a word, example are to be found. However, where an affix is added to a bound stem, comparable, where Paris is free, withdrawable, where dart is bound or unkind. Where kind is free, with uncount, where be noun is bound. Okay, I return to moderator.
Okay, thank you, Risnianti. The last material and the conclusion will be explanation by Ayu Asriana. To Ayu Asriana, welcome to you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will continue the material. 1. The difference between a base and a stem. Base is the core of a word, the part of the word which is essential for looking up its meaning in the dictionary. Stem is either the base by itself or the base plus another morpheme to which other morphemes can be added. For example, fairy is both a base and a stem. When an affix is attached, the base or stem is called a stem only. Other affixes can now be attached. 2. The difference between a root and a stem. The terms root and stems are sometimes used interchangeably. However, there is a subtle difference between them. A root is a morpheme that expresses the basic meaning of a word and cannot be further divided into smaller morphemes. For example, the form struck in English is a root because it cannot be divided into smaller meaningful parts, yet either can it be used in this course without a prefix or a suffix being added to it. Construct, structural, destruction, etc. A stem may consist of just a root. However, it may also be analyzed into a root plus derivational morphemes. Like a root, a stem may or may not be a fully understandable word. For example, in English, the form regis and deduce are stems because they act like any other regular verbs. They can take the past tense suffix. However, they are not roots because they can be analyzed into two parts, just plus the derivational prefix re or did. So, some roots are stems and some stems are root, but root and stems are some roots are stems and some stems are roots, but roots and stems are not the same thing. There are roots that are not stems, juice, and there are stems that are not root, reduce. In fact, this rather subtle distinction is not extremely important conceptually, and some theorists do away with it entirely. As for the conclusion of this presentation is, 1. Words are speech sounds or series of speech sounds that symbolize and communicate meaning usually without being divided or separated into smaller units and can stand alone or can be used independently. 2. Base is the smallest indivisible and independent morpheme unit. A root and stems are base, but not all bases can be root and stems. Base is a part of word that attach an affix that change the meaning of or part of speech in the word, but inflectional and derivational affix can be attached to the base. 3. Root is used to denote a form that cannot be further analyzed far away, meaning the root is the form that remains after all its affixes okay in inflectional and derivational affix are omitted. 4. A stem may consist of a single root, of two roots forming a compound stem, or of a root or stem and one or more derivational affixes forming a derived stem. Okay, that's for me. I return it to the moderator.
That was the result of the presentation from our group. more and less, please forgive. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.